Why do the nicest people often end up feeling invisible, disrespected, or even betrayed? You give, you fix, you show up for everyone, but deep down, you're exhausted and wondering why no one values you the same way. It might shock you to know that being good without boundaries isn't a virtue, it's a trap. Machiavelli believed it's better to be feared than loved because love fades, but respect lasts when people know you can't be pushed around. In this video, I'll reveal 3 Machiavellian rules that turn kindness into power so you'll never be ignored again. If you've ever felt invisible despite your kindness, stay until the end. This might be the shift you've been waiting for. 1. The myth of being nice. Have you ever noticed that the kinder you are, the more invisible you become? It might shock you, but kindness without boundaries doesn't inspire admiration, it quietly erases you. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're teaching others to overlook your voice and your worth. Michael, a 32-year-old marketing professional, was known as the go-to-nice guy at work. He stayed late fixing other people's mistakes, took on extra tasks even when drowning in deadlines, and bit his tongue in meetings just to keep the peace. At first, he thought this selflessness would lead to recognition, maybe even a promotion, but what happened? His hard work was taken for granted, his ideas ignored, and worse, his accomplishments were credited to someone else. The harder he tried to please, the more invisible he became. The breaking point came during a tense meeting when a colleague casually claimed credit for a campaign Michael had spent weeks perfecting. Something inside him snapped. It wasn't just anger, it was clarity. He realized he wasn't being overlooked because he lacked talent. He was being overlooked because he had given away his voice. Maybe you've been Michael too. Swallowing your frustration, nodding when you disagree, and hoping someone would notice your worth. But deep down, you know that no amount of being nice will earn the respect you crave if you can't stand your ground. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He warned that morality without strategy is weakness, and that virtue without strength becomes a weapon others use against you. Respect isn't given to those who endlessly accommodate, it's earned by those who balance empathy with authority. Think about the people you naturally admire. Are they the ones who say yes to everything, or the ones who set firm boundaries? Machiavelli believed that love fades, but respect lasts when others know you can't be manipulated. When you overgive, you unconsciously teach people to undervalue you. True strength isn't about aggression. It's about quiet confidence, the ability to say no without fear and to speak less while making every word count. Ask yourself, when was the last time someone dismissed your opinion simply because you're afraid to push back? How many times have you left a room feeling smaller because you wanted to avoid conflict? Here's the hard truth. Kindness without strength always backfires. Think back to the last time you said yes when your gut screamed no. How did that feel? Hold on to that memory because, in the next part, the reality of power, you'll learn why true respect is built on presence and control. Don't miss it. 2. The reality of power. What if I told you that the world doesn't truly respect people who only try to be good? Few realize this, but the more you focus on pleasing everyone, the more invisible you become. Think about it. How many times have you done everything right, stayed humble, played fair, and given all your effort, only to watch someone less skilled take the credit and enjoy the rewards that should have been yours? Every time you compromise just to keep the peace, you quietly erase your own presence. Daniel, a 35-year-old manager, believed that being endlessly accommodating would secure his success. He stayed late to cover for his team, sacrificed his weekends to keep projects on track, and said yes to every request, no matter how unreasonable. On the surface, he was the dependable guy everyone liked, but underneath, his quiet determination was mistaken for weakness. His hard work became the background noise of the office, unnoticed and unappreciated. The breaking point came when a junior colleague, less experienced but unapologetically assertive, stepped in, took credit for Daniel's accomplishments, and was promoted to lead the projects Daniel had built from scratch. That moment shattered him. It wasn't just a betrayal, it was a brutal awakening. And maybe you've been Daniel too. You've tried to be kind and well-intentioned, only to find yourself standing in the shadows, wondering why doing the right thing doesn't bring the recognition you deserve. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that morality without power is like holding a paper shield. It looks noble, but it crumbles at the first strike. Respect isn't earned through cruelty, but through the perception that you cannot be pushed around. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who say yes to everyone, or the ones who know when to stand firm? What if the reason you're overlooked isn't because you're not good enough, but because you've been too agreeable? How many times have you nodded along just to keep the peace, only to leave feeling smaller, unseen, and disrespected? Even great leaders like Steve Jobs understood this. Jobs once said, "Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things." Saying no is not about being difficult, it's about protecting your value and your time. So here's a challenge. Pick one area of your life where you always say yes when your heart wants to say no. Today, set one boundary, even if it's as simple as protecting your evening. For yourself, it will feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the first step to reclaiming your presence and your power. And this is just the beginning. The next part, the cost of kindness, will show why giving without boundaries doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible. Miss it, and you'll stay stuck in the same cycle that's been holding you back. If any part of this message feels like your life story, drop your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading might need to hear your truth too. 3. The cost of kindness. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." It sounds ruthless, but think about how the game of chess is won, not by kindness, but by calculated moves that protect your power. Kindness without strategy is like leaving your king exposed on the board. One wrong step and you're out of the game. Imagine Michael, a 32-year-old project lead, playing his career like a pawn, always moving forward but never defending himself. He stayed late to fix others' mistakes, covered for teammates who failed, and never asked for credit. He believed that if he kept giving, his hard work would speak for itself. But when budget cuts came, Michael was the first to be sacrificed. His loyalty didn't make him the queen of the board, it made him invisible. That was his wake-up call. Kindness without strength is easily taken advantage of, like an undefended piece captured without a fight. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He believed that morality without power is a hollow gesture. It might win sympathy, but it never commands respect. Respect is earned when you show the ability to draw lines, to stand firm like a fortress on a battlefield. Look at leaders like Napoleon or Steve Jobs. They weren't always nice, but their decisiveness and clarity of vision made them untouchable. Ask yourself, when was the last time your efforts went unnoticed simply because you didn't defend your own value? The harsh truth is this: people respect what they can't control, not what bends too easily. Confidence is magnetic, while endless compliance fades into the background. So, think of your life as a game of strategy, where every boundary you set is like protecting your king. What would change if you stopped letting others move your pieces for you? The next insight, the perception of weakness, is where the real power shift begins. Skip it, and you'll keep playing the same losing game. But if you stay, you'll see how one simple mindset shift can transform the way people treat you forever. 4. The perception of weakness. Have you ever walked away from a meeting or conversation feeling like you didn't matter? Like your effort or opinion was invisible? It's a painful reality that happens not just in offices, but also in friendships and relationships. You've been taught all your life that being nice, agreeable, and accommodating would earn you respect. But have you noticed how the people who speak less, draw clear lines, and don't bend easily often get treated with far more authority? Picture a weekly team meeting. David, a 34-year-old manager, is always the first to volunteer for extra work. He stays late, fixes other people's mistakes, and even apologizes when the fault isn't his. He thought this would prove his value as a leader. But over time, his colleagues began ignoring his instructions. Deadlines were missed because everyone knew David would pick up the slack. His niceness didn't earn respect, it taught others that he was an easy fallback. He said, "For what purpose is he here to visit his deadlines anyway?" The breaking point came when he was blamed for a project failure that wasn't even his responsibility. In that moment, David realized something harsh. Every yes he gave when he wanted to say no didn't show kindness, it signaled weakness. The same pattern shows up in dating. Imagine you're constantly the one double texting, over-explaining, and adjusting your schedule just to keep someone interested. Meanwhile, they barely respond, yet somehow hold the upper hand. Machiavelli would argue this is about value. People respect what they must work for. When you're always available, you become predictable, and predictability erodes respect. The less you chase, the more power you hold. It's not about playing games, it's about self-respect and knowing your worth. Machiavelli once said it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. His fear isn't about cruelty, it's about presence, strength, and consequence. People respect those who have the courage to draw a line. Ask yourself, when was the last time your automatic yes made you feel smaller, not appreciated? The next part, the roots of people-pleasing, will uncover why your need for approval may be the very reason others don't value you. Miss it, and you risk staying stuck in that exhausting cycle of frustration and invisibility. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear this right now. It could change their life. 5. The roots of people-pleasing. What do Elon Musk and Steve Jobs have in common? They never let the fear of being disliked stop them from making bold moves. Their success wasn't built on being agreeable. It was built on having the courage to say no, to stand firm, and to focus on results rather than approval. This is a mindset that turns ordinary leaders into visionaries, and it's a mindset you can learn. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, now known as X, he made decisions that sent shockwaves through the media. Massive layoffs, policy overhauls, and relentless demands for efficiency earned him labels like ruthless and harsh. But Musk didn't flinch. He understands that leadership is not about pleasing everyone, it's about moving forward, even when the world is watching and criticizing. Machiavelli would call this virtue the strength and strategic boldness to act when others hesitate. Musk knows that respect doesn't come from trying to be liked. It comes from standing by decisions that deliver real impact. Would you dare to make an unpopular choice if it meant achieving your bigger vision? Steve Jobs lived by a similar principle. He was legendary for his obsession with excellence, pushing his teams to achieve what seemed impossible. Jobs wasn't interested in being seen as nice. He demanded perfection, and while this often made him a polarizing figure, it also built Apple into one of the most powerful brands in the world. He believed that true innovation requires ruthless focus, which is why he famously said, "Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things." For Jobs, saying no wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. It was his way of protecting the vision that mattered most. Machiavelli believed that love fades, but respect, once earned, lasts, because it's built on boundaries and strength. Both Musk and Jobs show us that if you live only for approval, you become invisible. But when you set high standards and refuse to compromise, people may not always like you, but they will remember and respect you. In the next part, the fear behind kindness. You'll uncover why the need to be liked can quietly destroy your influence and confidence. Skip it, and you risk staying stuck in the same cycle of being overlooked. 6. The fear behind kindness. Have you ever asked yourself why you always feel guilty when you say no, even when every part of you knows it's the right choice? This isn't just about being nice, it's about survival patterns you've been taught since childhood. The final strategy, kindness as disguised fear, forces us to confront the truth. Sometimes our so-called kindness is nothing more than fear wearing a polite mask. Think of Anna, a talented project manager who always said yes to every request. She stayed late to fix other people's mistakes, answered emails at midnight, and never once pushed back when deadlines became unrealistic. Her team liked her, but they didn't respect her. In a critical meeting, a less skilled colleague who knew how to assert himself took credit for her work. That moment shattered her belief that being endlessly nice would earn recognition. Anna realized her kindness wasn't kindness at all. It was fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of confrontation, fear of not being enough. And that fear was costing her everything. Everything we've explored, the myth of being nice, awakening to reality, the cost of blind kindness, the perception of weakness, and the roots of people-pleasing, lead to this truth. Machiavelli warned that those who act good in a world that is not good will be trampled. Your challenge isn't to stop being kind, but to stop letting fear dictate your actions. Respect isn't born from constant approval seeking. It's earned by showing boundaries and confidence. Here are 3 steps to break free. 1. Recognize the mask. Ask yourself, am I saying yes because I want to, or because I'm afraid of saying no? 2. Reclaim your voice. Start small. Assert one opinion or boundary today without over-explaining. 3. Align kindness with strength. Be kind when it's your choice, not your obligation. Kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's surrender. You now hold the final key, the fear behind kindness. But knowing this truth isn't enough. In the conclusion, I'll weave all 6 principles together so you can walk out of this video ready to command respect and reclaim your power. What's one Machiavelli principle you want me to explore next? Drop your idea. I might create a video on it. Now you've uncovered all 6 principles, each one a piece of the puzzle that Machiavelli knew would separate the powerful from the forgotten. These are not just lessons. They are tools designed to help you rise above the noise, reclaim your strength, and build unshakable respect wherever you go. Here's a quick recap. The myth of being nice taught you that endless kindness erases your voice. The reality of power revealed that presence and strategy outweigh approval seeking. The cost of kindness showed that giving without boundaries makes you invisible. The perception of weakness warned that over-accommodation is seen as fragility. The roots of people-pleasing uncovered how fear of rejection robs you of authority. And finally, master yourself first gave you the golden rule. Self-mastery ties all these lessons together. Now it's time to feel the strength you've been missing. Imagine stepping into your day with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. No more apologizing for your voice, no more chasing validation. Each principle you've learned is a weapon against being overlooked, and when combined, they make you untouchable. Picture yourself 30 days from now. You walk into meetings or conversations and people listen, not because you're loud, but because every word carries weight. You hold your ground, set boundaries, and lead with a clarity that makes others respect you without question. If this message gave you strength, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And if you're ready for more lessons like this, stay with us, because this is just the beginning of your transformation.